Hello, lovely YouTube family. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. On this chapter, I like to share inspiring stories. I also like to share some skits and some entertainment. Also, on this channel, you just have to watch out because there'll be lots of interesting stuff being shared with you lovely viewers. Today, I'm going to tell another inspiring story, a story which I believe will inspire you. Remember to please comment and like and also subscribe. Let me dive straight into today's story. You're welcome back. Let's dive into our story for today. I tell the story of a woman and her husband. They had two sons. Now, this woman, let's call her Juliet. Juliet had a brother who gave birth to a son together with his partner. So the Peter is the brother's name. He gave birth to a son called John. Peter and his partner were teenagers when they gave birth to John. So they hid the pregnancy all the while until John was born. So when he was born, it was a shock, and everyone, no one wanted to accept John. No one wanted to even accept Peter anymore. Nobody wanted Peter to live with them anymore because even Peter's parents said, "You can't live with us anymore." I mean, it's not as if they were even well to do. They could not even take care of Peter, let alone Peter coming again with a baby. So they were really, hugely disappointed, and they used that frustration to just be like, "Peter, leave this house." Peter's partner, also the lady, had left John, with Peter, saying, "I can't take care of him," and she just left and abandoned him and went far away. So Peter was left alone on what to do with his son John. So he reached out to his bigger sister Juliet and pleaded, "I don't know what to do with John. Can you please take him in?" She was quite well to do, and so she said, "Okay, don't worry. I would raise your son, John. I will raise him together with my own sons." So they agreed, and John was around 5 years when he started living with his auntie Juliet, and Juliet also had her sons. So the first one was around 7, and then the second one was around 6 years of age. So Juliet and her husband raised these 3 boys, their own 2 sons, and their nephew. Well, Juliet's nephew. They all grew up. She paid, Juliet and her husband paid the school fees of all 3 boys, raised them. Everything was going on fine. Until it was university time for the firstborn to go to university. He was first boy of Juliet and her husband. So he started his university. Unfortunately, during the second year break, he was coming back home and he was involved in a ghastly accident. He lost his life. This caused a lot of tension in the home. It was just so tough. Juliet became so depressed. Her husband became so depressed as well. And the sad thing was that, the second son, let's call him Ayo, when it was time for him to go to university, because of the experiences of his brother, and it now happened that it was the same university that his brother went to that he finally got admission into. He had that trauma mindset, and he just told his parents, "I'm not going to school. I'm not interested in going to university." And he always reminded him, "Don't you remember what happened to my brother?" And this always upset the whole family. "Will you now say you won't go to university because of what happened to your brother? We know it was a very terrible thing, but it won't happen to you." So because of the trauma that happened to his brother, he always uses it as an excuse. He said he was not going to university, so he wasted that year. The following year, they tried again persuading him, he tried to other universities. It was the same university again that there was the only one that admitted him. So there was a big fight between him and his family. He said, no, this is the bad sign. He's not going to this university. He's not going. So at the end of the day, the parents did not know what to do. They left him. And before you knew it, there was a lot of tension in the home. He became so much a chaotic child. He joined his fellow ex-mates from secondary school and neighborhood peers who refused to further their education. They all formed a gang. Before you knew it, it took him to drinking, to smoking, idle. So the father and the mother could not bear it anymore. It became so tough at home. Whenever he came back late, he won't follow the timetable that the father gave out. And the father was quite short-tempered. So the father just warned him several times, and when he wouldn't listen, the father was like, don't ever come to this house again. I'm tired of all this rubbish. Because it went on for 4 years. He said he was not going to school, he was not going to university, and he was just there. He'll come home and he will start stealing money, stealing the money at home. Wherever he finds money, he will lie, he didn't take the money. And what's he using the money to do? To smoke, to drink? Just messing up. So the tension was less in the home. Meanwhile, what's his name now? They were unfortunately, John, who was living with them now, because of the tension in the home, to a point where the relationship was just not as strong as it should be. So John, when he went for his university, he went ahead for his youth service. After youth service, he just did not show up in the home again. The home was not a sweet home anymore for him. So he, being a youth, that was the mistake he made. He just did not show up anymore after youth service. Nobody heard from him again. Fast forward to 7 years later, Juliet lost her husband. So Juliet was just on her own in the house. She had lost her first child. She had no idea where her second child, Ayo, was. She had no idea where John was. She was all by herself. So after a while, after losing her husband, Ayo had finished his youth service, had proceeded to do a master's in the US. So he was now in the US, and he had actually now started an NGO. And the way he even actually got to the US was that he started an NGO back in Nigeria. And this NGO actually focused on trying to free inmates. He tried to advocate for inmates who probably were even not guilty but were left in the prison. So he was like an advocate for them, and he was actually a voice to be heard. So this engagement he did actually helped him to go into the United States of America. So that's where he was living. He had started his family. So one day he came to himself, and he was just telling himself that his heart just kept on going to Juliet. Like when he looked at his own family, he looked at his kids. Anytime they even his kids ask him who is his mother, who is his father, he's always very silent about it. Only his wife knew the story. And his wife always told him that, John, you should actually look for the people that raised you. Those are your parents. I mean, everybody rejected you, but they took you in. Even if your relationship got rocky, come on, look for them. So John said, okay, I was going to listen to his wife. So John traveled to Nigeria with the sole aim of looking for Juliet and her husband. So he went to the house where they used to live. So he was able to they had moved from that house, so he was able to get the new address. So he found Juliet looking so old. I mean, she was 78 years now. She was looking, he could barely recognize her. I was like, wow. So he introduced himself, and Juliet was so happy. Oh, it's you. I never knew. So they made up. He apologized for all the years of absence, and he told her what he was now, what he has been able to achieve, and she was so happy. So what he did was that he then started making arrangements, because she was all alone in the house, and he said he was going to make arrangements as soon as he gets to the US for her to come and spend some time. Luckily, because of his pedigree, he was able to apply on her behalf, and then she was given a 2-year stay for visiting in the US, because he was able to present all his his finances was okay. So they were satisfied that he will be able to take care of her for if she wanted to stay for 2 years. So Juliet moved to the US and was staying with John. The process of staying, she was enjoying herself. Every medical issue that she had was being sorted out. So at the end of the day, they were all happy together, living as a family. So she told John one day that, John, I'm so happy I found you. I'm so happy that I've seen your children, I've seen your wife. It brings more joy, but there is something missing. She says that one thing that will make her so happy before she finally passes on is if she can at least find her son again, her only living son, Ayo. She even wants to know, she has not heard from him for over 20 years, and it will bring her so much joy if she at least even knows where he is. So of course John said, okay, he pestered him. John said, I'm going to look for him. So John traveled to Nigeria to look for his cousin Ayo. As he came to Nigeria, he did his research, he asked questions. At the end, he was able to find Ayo, but unfortunately, he found Ayo was in jail. So he went to jail, he visited Ayo. Ayo cried when he saw him. And Ayo told his story of how he was taken to jail 7 years ago with a group of people. He said he was innocent, but just because of association, and he was not able to provide any lawyer, he has been left in the jail for a robbery case that also led to the death of someone. And so John started trying to advocate for the release of Ayo. So at the end of the day, John was able to use his voice to actually release his cousin Ayo from jail, and he brought Juliet back from the US. He said to my auntie Juliet, Mommy, I found Ayo. This is your son. So Juliet was so thrilled, was so happy, and the story went on beautifully from then on. Of course, John tried to assist his cousin Ayo to try and make him have a good footing back into the society. I would like to leave us with a lesson. I find this story touching. I find this story inspiring as well. And the lesson that I would like to share, that I personally have learned from this story, is, I would say, one good son deserves another. It's always good to reach out to people and help, because the way life is just fashioned is that what goes around comes around. When you help someone today, we should not also have the mindset of, I'm helping you because of what I want to get in return. You never know when your reward might come. Your reward might not come immediately because you helped someone. Your reward might come 20 years time, in 30 years time. You never will know at the most critical time that you need it. So this is my story for today, and please, I would like to enjoying every one of you that enjoyed the story too. Feel free to comment what you also learned from this story, like this video, and subscribe to my channel. Till I come your way again next time. Bye for now.